Would you like to reduce your net fleet fuel spend by 10 to 23%? Could you use that money in other areas in your company while reducing your carbon footprint at the same time? Click the link below and learn more. All right, so it's going up, and
bad words like shit or damn or all that gets edited out.
You can do that. I don't know if we want to take it as far as George Carlin with the 7 words you can't say on TV, right?
I'm good. I promise I'll try to keep it PC.
Yeah, well, we're truckers, so when does that ever really happen?
Right.
Hey, everybody, welcome to FEI, Freight Executive Insights. I'm Mike Vincent. I'm not the freight executive giving insights. It's Jessica King Price. She's the one, and I've been chasing her for a while, and she finally looked me up and said, hey, this cat, maybe he's legit. But she is president at Palletized Trucking Inc., which is a fantastic name. I bet you couldn't believe nobody took it when you found that name. And it's fantastic. So, hey, welcome to the show, Jessica. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I am good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You want to get any cuss words out of the way right now so they're out of your system? Or
shit, damn, fuck, piss.
Oh,
are we good?
Yeah, we're good. we're all good. That's fantastic. See, people, that she's a true trucker. She is a trucker in Houston as well. So, first of all, Jessica, Palletized Trucking. Give us the lowdown on Palletized Trucking.
Oh, there's a lowdown for sure. We were founded in 1969 by my grandparents. I'm third generation. My dad was the son of Rexton, Maryland. My grandparents actually started their journey in trucking with another gentleman and was froze out of that business a long time ago in the early 60s. And my grandfather used a life insurance policy to use it as collateral to buy his first truck. And that is where we started. So
wow. In Houston?
Yep, in Houston. We're domiciled in Houston. We'll go anywhere. It's all about the money, right? Making sure it's a good price for our customers and making sure that our drivers can earn a decent living doing those loads if it's outside of Houston. But yeah, we'll go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was in LTL. We used to say there's no ugly freight, just poorly priced freight.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah, there's always something to be done. Is Palletized Trucking, from what I gather in looking at the website, is primarily, or maybe it's not primarily, but maybe it's but you're doing a lot of drayage type of work, container movement and that type of stuff, but also general commodity as well. Is it a 50-50 split, or where do you guys specialize in one or the other?
We're full gamut. So we do hot shot, we'll do drayage, dry vans, flatbed, heavy haul, all the way up to 170,000 pounds. We have different operating divisions to make sure we can understand our volumes and things like that. But there's really no area in freight that we won't touch outside of it being quote unquote super heavy.
Well, so what do you guys define as super heavy? Because if I look at your website, there's some pretty cool pictures. There's actually one of like a plane fuselage with I don't think I can count that high how many axles are underneath that thing.
Yeah, you probably couldn't. It's neither can I. So we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
So that was our super heavy division. That was the 747 that is now it's actually a museum at NASA.
Wow.
We did that alongside another freight forwarder. We did it as charity work. But yeah, we're not in that space anymore. A lot of the bigger guys came into Houston, and we're doing a lot bigger and better things than we could do as a small business. So we exited that market in 2016, but it's on our website to really showcase, we've been there, done that. And we're very proud to have been in that space.
And that's really important in that space, right? Is to have been there and done that, right?
For sure.
I mean, there's so much that goes into doing that stuff. It's not like something like, you know what, I want to move, 747 fuselages.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
You run it right through downtown Houston too at heavy traffic.
Yeah, right. We talk about that all the time. We tell our customers we're not going to be the trucker that's practicing on their freight. If we're going to accept a load, we're going to have been there, done that, and we're going to know what to do to get it done.
That is fantastic stuff. So, Jessica, how did you get sucked into the family business, or was it just a love from the very beginning? I talked to someone you know, I'm sure in your transportation club there, Story Conrad, and she was going onto the docks with the the stevedores, et cetera, when she was just a little girl and saying, "Hey,
Yep.
this is what I'm going to do." Was
Right.
that the same thing for you, or how did you get into the business?
No, I grew up on a farm in southeast Kansas, and I did. My grandparents lived here in Houston, and I'd come visit them, but I didn't really have a good perspective on what they had going on, and what their business really looked like. Nobody in my family had gone to college, so I went to college. I graduated in 2008 with my accounting degree, and in 2008, that was the mortgage crisis. It had
Oh yeah.
just started. I was interviewing. I had some wild idea that I was going to open a live music venue in Lawrence and live my life in Lawrence, Kansas, doing what I wanted to do and
Just promoting concerts.
promoting. Well, not even promoting. Like I wanted to have a dueling piano bar, honestly, and
Oh, okay.
sell art on the side. I really love art. It's a big passion of mine. But my grandparents called and they're like, "Look, this is a really bad time. People aren't going to spend their money on booze and art and all of that stuff right now. We are in a time that we've not seen since the 80s. So you need to make a decision of coming to this business now." So that's what I did. I packed up a U-Haul and moved to Houston. It was like an overnight decision and started working with my
Well,
grandparents. They put me as receptionist. My first day here was receptionist, and I sat in that seat for quite a while.
well, it's a good place to learn the business, though,
Oh,
right? I mean, you
hell
get
yeah.
the front line of all the crap and all the good too, right? So
Yep.
you get to understand what people want, desire, where failures were, and that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that I tell people now I was pissed off. Like I was so mad. I had worked so hard. I graduated in 3 years from the University of Kansas. I was like so determined to get out of college. I wanted to start my career, and
Yeah,
they placed me in that seat, and I was like, no, I am not doing this. I think I quit day two. I was like, I'm not doing this.
yeah,
But now reflecting on it, I would not be where I am in this business had I not done that because 15, 16 years ago, people were calling. We weren't texting, we weren't emailing, all of those things.
yeah,
We were
yeah.
having phone conversations. So literally anybody that touched our business, I was talking to. So I don't think if I would have sat in that position, I would be where I am today.
I'm sure, and I'm sure that those long-term customers have profound respect. It's like I remember when I was talking to you when you were just out of college, and you, so the respect that you've earned, right,
Yeah.
over the last what would it be 16 years, I guess.
Yeah, there's some of that. I think that everybody's journey is a little bit different. I had employees here, I'd come here as a child and they remember me walking all over their desks. And then I come in, I'm the granddaughter, so there's the dynamic of all of that is it's difficult to explain, but there's definitely some of that.
There, yeah, I imagine it would be, but I mean, the people that are there and still there from when you were a little girl and when you started there coming out of college as a young woman, I mean, you didn't say, "Hey, here's the range, Jessica. Go, don't screw it up." Right? I mean, you had to learn,
Right. Oh, I had to earn it.
and
Yeah.
that's where the respect comes
Yeah.
from is smelling that diesel and getting that fifth wheel grease on your hands and talking to those customers and understanding what it is. That's a fantastic story. I mean, it's do you ever think, hey, I want to go back to doing a piano bar and art, or is this it now?
This is, I
You got
mean, I feel like I'm sure you've heard this being in your position and the positions that you've held before, but once you're in trucking or logistics, it's kind of in your blood. Like you
yeah,
can't,
you don't get out. You don't get out of it. It's an incurable disease. It's
yeah,
incurable.
it's incredible. I always tell people, the drivers are the best part of my job by far, and it's also the hardest part of my job. But what we do for America and how we drive, we are truly the driving force of how this country works and maintains. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, no, it really is. I agree with you, and I think the people understand and now more now than ever, right? I've been in the business for 36 years and I've done everything except run a railroad, and never has there been a profound appreciation for what goes on or an understanding of just how difficult it can be to move something from A to B in time, in time, intact. You know, it can be incredibly difficult, and now people I think actually realize that, and it doesn't seem to be fading from the mainstream media or the reports either. The importance is there. Unfortunately, not for some of the greatest reasons, but it is there. And it's really interesting to see that people are graduating from college wanting to be in transportation. I mean, and I'm sure there was before, but when I came into it, stuff like that, it was like you go to school, you're going to be a surgeon, then you're just going to be a general practitioner, then you're going to be a lawyer, then you're going to be in business, and before you know it, you come out with a liberal arts degree and you're in trucking.
That is so true. That is so true. But now they have supply chain degree. I mean, like we were just at the Break Bulk Americas, and U of H does a tremendous job. Margaret Kidd, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to her, but she would be a really great person to talk to. She does a fabulous job of getting these kids connected and integrated with people that are in these real life positions. And it's true. I think there were probably, I don't want to put a number out there. If I had to, I'd say maybe 50 to 60 students walking around Break Bulk Americas, like going booth to booth. So, I mean, you wouldn't have seen that 16 years ago. And
No.
if you did, you wouldn't pay any attention to it because it was like, well, what, like, people that have been in this business have been in this business for 30 years. And if you're not in it, you don't know much. So,
exactly. And what is some kid going to offer me out of college? Now there's, I mean, yeah, obviously the technology, the tech that's and stuff like that are phenomenally important. But you still got to have that. You still got to have the Jessica King prices. You still got to have those people in the industry, right? You can take the best computer science person, tech person, logistics major into your business. They still got to learn it from you.
I would agree with that. And I think, if I could go back and do anything over again when I started in this business, it would be that I would have pulled up my sleeves and sat alongside some of the people that had been here a really long time. I kind of came in here with the mentality of I just graduated from college. I had an accounting degree. Like I knew what I was doing, but that wasn't the crux of it. It was, we're in trucking. We're not an accounting firm. So I think I would have sat alongside, not that I didn't do that. I think I would have sat alongside people that I didn't get a chance to do that with.
Yeah.
Just to see their experience and understand where they're coming from and get some more knowledge. Because now looking back, some of those guys that left or retired or whatever, man, it's like, man, I should have done that.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, so Roadway Express, which isn't here and it's been gone since before you graduated college, but the the training program was like 13 weeks long, and they gave you the manual, and you had to do it yourself. There wasn't anybody. Every Friday, you had a test on a different subject, and when you walked into that test, like the first test, half of the supervisors in training were fired on that day because they walked in and they're like, okay, did you go on a ride with P&D drivers every day this week, and did you sit with the dispatcher for 2 days this week? And they're like, well, nobody told me who to go to, and they go, okay, you're fired. And that's it. You did your own training,
Right.
but it was all designed on exactly what you said. Sit down and ride and be with those people who've been in this business and can teach you all the little details that you're never going to learn unless you sit there and do that job. You're never going to be able to really understand and empathize and dispatch drivers that are hauling a 747 fuselage through Houston traffic unless you've been there, done that, and been with them, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
That tribal knowledge is so important. Is so important. I would imagine that's your advice to kids coming out of college, getting into this industry, learn it, right?
For sure. Like I think, technology and data, like we always say in here, and numbers don't lie. I think understanding the tech side of things and the numbers is super important, and it adds another layer of complexity and knowledge to your business that we probably didn't have 15, 20 years ago. But I think if they don't know what they're looking at to actually look at the numbers, so it's really dig in first, and then let's look at the numbers.
Yeah, you got to understand what those numbers are implying or doing. Yeah, and I had that at my previous job where we had the last startup I was at. We had all these, PhDs, in computer science and data science from Harvard and Yale, et cetera, that type of stuff. Really, really smart minds. but they had to learn from someone like myself what those numbers
Right.
could possibly mean in order to to do it right because they'd never been on a dock before. They never smelled that diesel. They don't know what that. They didn't even know what a head load was. They didn't know what a backhaul lane was or any of that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: so you are working around Houston. You guys do anything or everything, like you said. You guys are jacks of all trades, if you will. Um, what do you think about the settlement or the postponement, if you will, of the strike? Because a lot of people looked at it and I said, "You realize Houston's on the East Coast, right? That is part of the East Coast. Are we all in the clear? What are you guys looking at, and what are you guys thinking? Because we're going to go through. We've got football season. Everybody's excited, and you know, hey, this is done now. That's on the back burner. Is it going to jump up? It's going to be January 14th and bite people on the ass and go,
I
holy
mean,
shit, we're
it
shutting down.
very well could. I mean, I think it's all about coming to the table, and we saw how hard that was this last go around.
Yeah,
So I think unless there's major strides had between now and then, and they're really looking at coming and sitting at the table, I don't know how that's going to shake out. I think as a carrier, the best thing that we can do is, we talked a lot about it. We weren't sure. I was of the opinion it's going to happen. It with the way the communication was being had, it was going to happen.
right. You mean the strike was going to
Yeah,
happen?
it was going to happen. I think that gearing yourself up to understand, okay, well, if there is no container drayage or there is no port work, how can you make sure that these drivers that are depending on you every single day to make a living, how are you going to rebound? What are you going to do different during that time? And I think that that's what we're talking about now. Is there dry van work? Are there lanes that we can be gearing up to handle if that does happen again?
Diversification is the key to what you're looking at. Yeah, that makes sense. But you're perfectly positioned for that, right? Because you already have that expertise in those customers.
I think it becomes about volume, though. When you have a flatbed heavy haul division, and you know how many drivers you have there, and you have a container drayage division, and you know how many drivers are there, making sure that you have the volumes to, combat that. How many drivers do you need to shift to this area to make sure they're fed?
Yeah, right. It comes down to keeping employees, families with
Yeah,
food on the table to
yeah,
make it through there. That's where it comes, and
absolutely.
that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. That they want to be the boss, they want to be the boss, they want to be the boss. Can you go to sleep every night knowing that all these families depend on your decision making and your planning? That's the hard part.
That is the hard part. Yeah,
That is really the hard part.
yeah. That's what keeps me up at night, especially these port strikes. Like, yeah, I knew it was going to be bad, but it wasn't so much about what was going on with the islet. Like, figure it out. I don't have much to say. Like, that is
Yeah,
their
you don't have any skin in that game,
not
I guess. So
in that game, like directly, indirectly, how it impacts my drivers and all of that. Man, I could not sleep. It was like, how are we going to readjust? Are we going to be able to keep these drivers? And if we keep the drivers, they can't go somewhere else because the
right,
same thing's happening to another container drayage business. But what can we
yeah,
do to? They have families to feed.
yeah, you got to have something. Yeah, well, I mean, you don't. Yeah, that's man. It's
It's a hard
enough said, I guess, on that. That's a really difficult thing. Are you seeing any difference in the communications, or is it kind of radio silent right now as to what's going on there?
I'm not hearing much at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything reported really other than that. It's like everybody just assumes that it's been handled, and it really wasn't. It was just punted down
Yep.
till first quarter, which makes me a bit concerned. Just because one of the things, and I forget who it was on that was discussing it. It was I guess it was on the port side was just talking about, or on the carrier side was saying that. One of the first things they need to do is get the contract to expire in Q1 and not Q3.
Yeah.
And there's only one reason for that. It's so that they can put their foot in the sand. And now they've accomplished that. They've agreed to enough of an increase to punt it down the road till Q1 where they can put their foot in the sand and it won't impact the overall economy as much as it will right before Christmas and the holiday season. That's a concerning development, is it not? I mean, this wasn't a like, yay, it got punted. To me, it was like a, uh-oh. It
Yeah,
got moved to a time where both sides could really say, we're not budging.
I didn't when I heard that it was pushed to January, there wasn't any relief in that. I didn't
Yeah.
like it wasn't like, oh, good, like let's get it handled now. Let's understand what we're up against
Yeah.
moving forward and how they're going to operate. And let's put this to bed because not even it's not even just us, but like not even carriers, but the people at the port. Like there's just so many people that are impacted.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
um, but business is business, and I have nothing bad to say about any of those, how that happened. That is their,
The situation just sucks. Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it just sucks. It's, I hope that there can be some resolve so people aren't impacted and in a negative way, and we can all do what we need to do to keep America moving.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It just worries me that it's going to be at a time now where there's even less incentive for each side to go to the table and make something happen. And there's less political incentive for the government to, pull in the Taft-Hartley Act or something like that, because the impact on the economy is still there, but it's far less than it would have been in Q3. And plus, you're talking about 5 days before the change of power, regardless of who wins today. It's not a high priority, and it's right at a time where, yeah, it's a bit scary to me. It's a bit scary to me.
Scary.
But Jessica, look, 20 minutes has flown by. In fact,
Yeah.
21 minutes and 30 seconds, 33, 34, I won't keep counting, have flown by. And this has been really, really fantastic. As we get closer to this potential strike and stuff, I hopefully maybe we can touch base again and kind of talk about what's going on. I'm going to put it on my calendar. Hopefully you accept the invite. This has been
Yeah,
tremendous. I'd love to have you on again.
I would love to.
That's fantastic.
I think the only thing I'll say is to if we're wrapping this up is two
Yeah.
things. If this audience reaches people who are considering joining this industry, I think that this is a great industry to be in. I think we get to meet a lot of people, and the impact that we have is tremendous. And I think to the women that are considering joining this industry, there is absolutely a place for women in this industry, whether it's as a driver, whether it's as a dispatcher, executive, whatever they aspire to be. It's a fun place to be, and it doesn't matter what your gender is. The possibility and the opportunities are endless in this business.
No, it absolutely is. And I remember when women in trucking were truck drivers, period.
Mhm. Yep.
Now they're presidents, they're CFOs, they're founders, et cetera. And it's tremendous. And you better believe there's a place because we need all the intelligence we can get. And it's a tremendous thing. And I appreciate you being on the show. It's been fantastic. I
Yes.
really
Thank you so much. Talk to you
right
soon.
on. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in, downloading FEI. We'll catch you next time. Peace and love.